Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Tensions boil over as Janelle confronts Kody, Meri caught off guard by the brutal exchange. The Arizona air was thick with heat and unresolved pain as years of bitterness, betrayal, and bottled-up resentment erupted in a fiery showdown that left the Brown family more fractured than ever. In a moment that fans have long anticipated and frankly demanded, Janelle Brown finally confronted Kody, not with timid questions or passive disappointment, but with a ferocity and clarity that only comes from a woman who has spent the past 2 decades being sidelined, silenced, and steamrolled by a man who played God with 4 marriages and still lost control. And if the confrontation itself wasn't raw enough, what made it even more jarring was the fact that Meri Brown, once the ever-loyal first wife, was standing right there when it happened, completely caught off guard, left stunned, speechless, and blinking in shock as Janelle, normally the most even-tempered of the wives, let loose a scorching verbal takedown of Kody that echoed off the red rocks of Coyote Pass and shattered any illusion that this family can ever go back to the way things were. It all went down during what was meant to be a progress check meeting at Coyote Pass, one of Robyn's classic olive branch PR stunts disguised as family unity, but designed to keep her narrative of victimhood afloat. The invite was extended to all, and surprisingly, Janelle showed up, not with the intention of forgiveness, but with a mission. She came wearing jeans, boots, and a no-nonsense expression that screamed, "I'm done playing dumb." Kody, cocky and unbothered, arrived with his usual puffed chest and sunshades, trying to command the room like the man he once was. Meri, always walking a tightrope between craving inclusion and clinging to dignity, had come along hoping for something constructive. But what unfolded? It was nothing short of a verbal battlefield. As soon as Kody opened his mouth and started waxing poetic about restructuring the family dynamics, Janelle raised her hand, not to ask permission to speak, but to demand her voice be heard. "Stop," she said coldly. "Just stop. You don't get to do this anymore. Not after what you've done. Not after what you've said. You're not some wise leader restoring peace. You're a man who blew up his own family and still thinks he's the victim." The words hit like a brick wall. Kody tried to interject, something about miscommunication and misunderstandings, but Janelle wasn't interested. "You looked me in the eyes and said you didn't care if I ever came back. You let me walk away like I meant nothing. And now you're sitting here pretending we can talk about land ownership and unity like we're still part of the same team? Wake up, Kody. The team is gone. You destroyed it." Meri, sitting to the side with wide eyes and a half-empty water bottle clenched in her hand, was stunned. She had never seen Janelle like this. So unleashed, so raw, so clear-eyed in her fury. And she couldn't hide her reaction when Janelle turned toward her and said, "And I'm sorry, Meri, but you sitting here acting shocked? You watched it happen. You were there when he blamed us for his failures. And you stayed quiet while he rewrote history to make Robyn look like the saint and the rest of us like the problem." Meri's mouth opened slightly, but no words came. She looked at Kody. He looked back, but didn't defend her. "Typical." Janelle continued, voice now quivering with power. "I have watched this man break every single wife he's had. I watched him turn on Christine. I watched him ice you out, Meri. And I watched him turn me into an afterthought. Well, guess what, Kody? I'm not an afterthought. I'm not disposable. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I still owe you grace after everything you've put me through." Kody, cornered and exposed, attempted to recover his footing, lashing out like he always does when he's losing control. "You left the marriage," he barked. "You didn't want to communicate. You always had one foot out the door." But Janelle was ready for that. "I left because I had to. I left because if I stayed one more day, I would have lost myself completely. I begged for connection. I begged for clarity. And all I got in return was arrogance and that twisted belief that somehow, if we weren't obeying you, we were betraying you." At that, Kody's face flushed crimson, his hands clenched into fists, and for the first time, he had no snappy comeback. And then came the final blow. You always said you were about family, Janelle said. But the moment things got hard, the moment we questioned you, you stopped being a husband. You stopped being a father. You stopped being a man. You became a dictator with a god complex. And the worst part? You think you're the one who's been wronged. She turned to Meri again. You want to keep defending him, go ahead. But don't pretend he's still the man we married. That man's gone. And this one. She pointed at Kody, who looked like he'd been punched in the soul. This one's just a bitter, lonely, self-absorbed coward who can't handle strong women telling him the truth. The silence that followed was suffocating. Meri looked between Janelle and Kody like a deer caught in a philosophical car crash. Kody finally stood, muttering something about toxic energy and narrative spinning, but no one was listening anymore. Janelle grabbed her bag and turned to Meri one last time. I know you want to believe there's still something here worth salvaging. But he's not going to change. And you deserve better than being his emotional punching bag. We all did. And with that, she walked away, head high, eyes forward. Meri sat in silence. Kody stormed off. And for the first time in Sister Wives history, it wasn't Kody walking away from the confrontation. It was one of the wives doing it on her own terms, without tears, without apologies, and with her soul intact. And the viewers? Oh, they were clapping from their couches across the nation. Kody said that even though he and Meri were formally married at 19 and spiritually wedded at 21, they didn't really know each other. In order for Kody to officially adopt Robyn's 3 oldest children from her first marriage, the couple filed for divorce in 2014. Kody revealed that everything was a conflict, saying, I can't live in a world where she is constantly angry at me. When we got married, she was very different, and I believe Meri had some baggage that I was unaware of, he added. At first, I felt like I could live with it. However, he was unable to go. According to a man with multiple marriages, Kody said, he cannot ask for a divorce if he wishes to remain true and in his beliefs. It is not permitted. I therefore couldn't leave that relationship, but I didn't necessarily want to end the connection. I wanted to know if it was something we could fix and save. Kody stated, she wasn't nice, she wasn't fun, she wasn't kind, and she wasn't interesting. This is why he assured Meri that they would work things out. I am bored and trying to be curious with her. But I didn't kick me out, he said, acknowledging he understood Meri's sense of abandonment. Meri, Janelle, and Christine all thought I needed to leave the house. Meri requested an official separation, also known as a release, from their church in late 2022, despite Janelle and Christine's conviction that they did not need to divorce Kody because their marriage had never been legally valid. She clarified in the September 22nd episode that it was through our church when each of us 4 ladies married Kody. Of course, we can't all be legally married, but it was what we called a covenant. As a result, I believe it would be best to end it because we don't intend to marry, and I don't want to be permanently bound to him if he doesn't want me. And I believe we should simply put this out of our thoughts. She went on to say that Kody was against the proposal because he refused to acknowledge the authority of church officials. Kody clarified his position with the following statement. The damage was done so badly that we're not going to reconcile no matter what. But since we are accountable to God, I don't want to be accountable to this church and all their BS. Because it will turn into a quarrel if I become upset with Meri, I'm going to let her go and do what she wants to do. And it took her a long time to comprehend that it had been done and over for years, so I just needed her to leave. It all went bad, it all went south, Christine said, recounting how a text message argument over a 2021 holiday gift exchange turned particularly ugly for the 18 brown children. Kody and Robyn and their kids were on one side, and they wanted nothing to do with Janelle, me, and our kids. This text exchange triggered a schism. But it was never about, we don't want to see you again, we don't want anything to do with you, Robyn alleged, adding that her 3 older children felt emotionally unsafe during the interaction and wanted to leave the relationship. It was just about like, hey, this got yucky. Gabriel hopes they can find each other again. In the October 13th episode, he admitted, the thing I want most is to just have a relationship with Robyn's children again. My favorite person to hang out with in middle school was Aurora. And I was always trying to get close to Dayton in high school. However, I'm not optimistic about my relationship with Robin and Dad. When Aurora's mother married Kody in 2010, she insisted on joining the family, saying, "I've been told directly, multiple circumstances by multiple different people, that I was not accepted, that I wasn't their sister, and that they didn't think or perceive me that way." Brianna, her sister, added that her parents could have done a better job with, connecting us as a family, and it never really happened. Christine, on the other hand, is unsure how they extended their embrace. Robin's kids and Robin were invited to everything, according to her. "I would just say, just come into the house anytime you want." She also revealed that Michael T. Brown Padron lived with Robin's children for a while, and that her daughter Isabel Brown was very close to them. "There were hard times and my kids were frustrated, but they always considered Robin's kids their siblings just the same." When it's working properly, you have this amazing family unit that you're part of, a community that you're plugged into, Janelle remarked, gushing over the independence she was granted in plural marriage. "You have everything you need, including a wonderful connection with your spouse, and after that I'm completely independent, so plural marriage seemed like a really wonderful arrangement to me." Kody would never again say "I do" to polygamy. "Polygamy kills emotional intimacy," he stated on the show on December 1st. "It makes everybody defensive, and I really want an emotionally vulnerable, intimate relationship with a woman, and you're not going to get that in polygamy." According to Janelle, when the family moved to Arizona from Las Vegas in 2018, Kody found it increasingly difficult to split his affection. "I'm really tired," she said on the September 29th episode, adding, "Kody found it much easier to be away when he moved to Flagstaff. I had to tell him a few times that he needed to come to my place." She also revealed that he would try to beg off because he was tired. "You can relax at my house just as much as you can at Robin's," I replied. Christine's children, on the other hand, saw that Robin and their dad were a couple and he wasn't in our home. Janelle highlighted her family's separation from Robin, adding, "My children were scolded if they opened Robin's fridge." Robin stated that her crew was aware of the division. "Meri, across the board, was very accepting of my kids and I, but the rest of the family really struggled to accept my kids and I," she said in the show's conclusion on September 29th. "All we wanted to do was be a part of this family." Gabriel would argue that he and his siblings made an intentional effort to involve them. In the episode that aired on October 13th, he remarked, "I think that Robin definitely has a victim complex, to put it frankly, and for that I don't necessarily hold her accountable. I believe that different people come up with different ways to stay afloat." He continued with this, "If she actually believes that we were mistreating her or her children in any way when she was constantly getting favorited by Dad, and we were always working on our relationship with her kids, if she actually believes that, then there's no chance of me having a relationship with Robin ever again." On the September 29th show, Kody talked about how his and Robin's youngest child, Ariella, who was born in January 2016, clung to his leg as he tried to depart, demonstrating how their father's travel between 4 different houses affected his 18 children. "There's another wife who needs me, another mother," I felt compelled to tell her. "And she's just dragging along on my legs screaming, 'Don't leave me, Daddy, don't leave me.' And I'm like, golly man, this is hard." Kody made it clear, "I have other kids that need to see me." Janelle insisted, "Unfortunately, that's just a reality of plural marriage." From the very beginning, she continued, her children understood that their father would not be there all the time. "I've always thought Robin and Kody handled her children's problems poorly. Ari gets really depressed or something, so he couldn't be gone for more than 3 or 4 days, which I think was a bad parenting move. The other children have done it throughout the family's history, and they're doing just fine. They are mature, well-adjusted individuals." During Kody's divorces, Michael T., a mother of 3 and one of the few Brown children who remain close to Robin and Kody, along with Christine and Janelle, functioned as peacekeepers. Robin has grown close to Michael T. since joining the Brown family, and she was even invited to the birth of her twins, Archer and Ace, in November 2022. "I was trying to figure out who I was when Robin first joined the family, and she made me feel special and seen. Michael T said in the episode that aired on September 29th. Robin was there for me when I needed somebody. She was there to listen and show me love. I was so excited about having a plural family, and I was hoping that my kids would have a great relationship with other moms. Christine, her mother, told the television program on October 6th, and it was everything that I hoped for when Robin came in the family, and it was obvious she and Michael T had a great relationship. In the October 6th episodes, Kody highlighted his estrangement with some of his older children, saying, "I am only guilty of not falling madly in love with their mothers." He believes that his spouses are not the only ones who have removed him from their lives. "They're purposely leaving me out of their lives to punish me for a crime I did not commit," he told me. Furthermore, he believes his ex-spouses share some of the culpability. "It's like, well, blame Dad," he stated. "This gap in my relationship with my children is directly in my mind because of SD talk. There's this cyclone of disappointment from the family breaking up or whatever. Dad made a mistake." Kody admitted that he was having problems connecting with Hunter, Maddie, and Gabriel, and that one of his children responded to a text message saying, "You are a piece of trash." While he takes some responsibility, he found the name calling disrespectful. "In any event, I'd never speak to you again. I've had one of my kids just say, 'You're an a-hole,'" he told cameras previously in another incident. "You brainwashed and controlled me. I will never communicate with you again." And that's the poison he doesn't want to deal with. "I'm willing to make the effort, but somebody else is going to have to be on the other end of that and make some effort too," he said, adding that he believes his adult children should be doing more to make things better. Robin found it quite painful to witness Kody's estrangement from his adult children. During the October 6th show, she stated, "My parents divorced when I was a child. He lived with one wife in another location and my mother lived alone. I recall asking what happened to my biological father. It was bad that he only made a series of lame excuses for why he didn't support me when I was younger. I'm having a hard time feeling like losing respect for you a little bit," she said during their heated on-camera confrontation in late 2022, hinting that she wouldn't let Kody's hurt feelings prevent him from trying. Kody agreed that he could repair his relationship with his children, but he first wanted to mend his heart. He admitted that he believes some of his children are colluding against me, saying, "I'm so upset about what has happened that if I speak to my children, they'll accuse me. I'm too impulsive right now. I'll only cause more harm." When Janelle and Kody's oldest son Logan married his now wife Michelle Petty in October 2022, a large portion of the family went, but they did not feel the love. In the episode from October 6th, Kody complained to Robin, "You saw Madison take her kids and scuttle them away from me." He also stated that his daughter, Josephine, had not informed him that she was pregnant with her third child, who was born in February 2023. Maddie rarely tells her father anything because they don't talk often. Janelle explained why her daughter avoided Kody at the wedding, adding, "Really, Maddie doesn't have any contact with him. She is extremely protective of her children." Kody has not been present since Evie's birth, when she was 3.5 years old. She also didn't want him to walk in and say, "Oh, I'm your grandpa," to which they would say, "What? Who is this man?" In reference to Maddie's upbringing in North Carolina, Kody stated, "It is an unrealistic expectation for grandparents to be continuously present in their grandchildren's lives, especially if you relocate your children to an entirely different shore. I have a job and a life in Flagstaff." One recurring issue is Kody's insistence on a mea culpa, despite the fact that he and his adult children openly disagree on their continued separation. After the COVID scare was over and we all went back to our normal lives, we still couldn't reconcile as a family because Kody felt like the boys needed to apologize to him and Robin, especially Robin, Janelle said, referring to her sons during the October 13th tragedy. "And after it sort of morphed into this, well, they just need to come and talk to me. And the most precious person in this family who's given her heart and soul has been disrespected or some bull's tea like that," Janelle added, summarizing Kody's problem, which was that he believed his children had failed him. "Yes, whatever.